we shed light on the life of someone who has been a beacon of inspiration, an epitome of a teacher and a mother. To millions of students around the world, she is Hansa Ma. Some say, for the soul, the journey is the destination. If that is so, it truly embodies in this gentle being. Her simple and eloquent way of teaching yoga helped to connect every age group and people from all walks of life. One of the cornerstones of Ma's approach to help people is the comfort that she provides when you approach her for counseling. It's a safe haven where she has helped innumerable people with her wise counsel and guidance for the way forward. There are many unique asanas which has been devised and created by Ma to help understand and practice yoga better. She is constantly in Sthit Pragya, a sattvic state of steady wisdom. A pioneer in many social initiatives like the Women's Wing, the pregnancy camps, special programs for prisoners, the Mumbai Police, the Mumbai Municipal Corporation, curated programs for special kids, and many more. Hansa Ma designed a special yoga initiative for 2 lakh truck drivers who now stay fit with yoga and have incorporated it in their daily lives. The Annam Brahma or Food is God program. The aim is to ensure that no poor or underprivileged goes hungry. Fresh, nutritious and healthy vegetarian food is distributed to poor and needy and hungry people every single day. Annam Brahma program has served almost 10 million meals as of date. In one of the recent crowning moments, Hansa Ma received the Prime Minister's Award from the Honorable Shri Narendra Modi ji for outstanding contribution for promotion and development of yoga. A proud moment for all of us who love and respect her. Under the leadership of Hansa Ma, there are over 1 lakh yoga teachers around the world. Being a true yogi at heart and in principles, yoga has always been a part of her daily life. She breathes yoga from the moment she wakes up and leads the various activities at the institute. It's truly enlightening and inspiring to see how Hansa Ma is a perfect blend of traditional and modern. She truly believes to evolve, one must mold oneself with time. After all, change is the only constant in life. It is your approachable nature and your warm smile that attracts millions of people towards you.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Namaskar, dear viewers. Hearty welcome to you all to the 3rd episode of Be With Yoga Master series presented by Ministry of Ayush, Government of India. Before beginning the program, I would like to thank to all the viewers, yoga enthusiasts, brothers and sisters who are joining us from India and abroad. Joining with us today, Ma Hamsa Jaidev Yogendra ji is a well-known yoga master, yoga guru, now leading the very prestigious oldest yoga institute, the Yoga Institute Santa Cruz, Mumbai. She is also Senior Vice President of Indian Yoga Association. As you are aware that the Yoga Institute Santa Cruz, Mumbai has got Honorable Prime Minister Yoga Award for the year 2018. Ma Hamsa ji, known for her simplicity, compassion and authority over the yoga philosophy and practices. She carries the legacy of yoga master Dr. Yogendra ji, Ma Sita Devi ji and Dr. Jaidev ji. The contribution of the Yoga Institute for the promotion of yoga is more than 100 years. Now the institute is 102 years old. She has started Ghar Ghar Mein Yog in the 80s. She has done various TV shows in her busy and hectic schedule, and sitting in the Epic Center, Mumbai, she become household name in the entire country. The way she teaches yoga with her innovative, simple yoga techniques are very unique. We are very fortunate to have Ma Hamsa ji with us. It's my proud privilege to welcome Ma Hamsa Jaydev ji and have an interactive session with her. Namaste madam. Hearty welcome to you for this Be With Yoga Master series as part of Be With Yoga, Be at Home series organized by Ministry of Finance, Government of India in association with 5 leading yoga institutions.
Namaste, Dr. Basav Reddy. It's always nice to be with you, to interact with you. I remember the first session which we had on 21st June, first session, when I was there on stage with our Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. That's the time when you were conducting session on asanas and techniques for others, and it was the whole atmosphere charged at that time. I remember that, and again I am with you, with your plan for these series. I am with you always.
Madam, please elaborate on the Guru Parampara of the Yoga Institute Santa Cruz and the journey of the Yoga Institute of more than 102 years and its contribution for the promotion and development of yoga.
Well, yes, the journey is very long, 102 years. Guru of the Yoga Institute, Sri Yogendra ji, who started the Yoga Institute in 1918, and he believed that yoga is required for householders. It would really help householders in their life, and so he started the institute. It was with very clear-cut idea that householders need yoga because they are the main pillars for the whole society. Entire society depends on householders. Even sadhu sannyasis depend on householders, and so they should be looked after. They should be taught a science of living. Householders were ignorant. Sadhus and sannyasis were exploring their ideas. But householders are those personalities who don't have time for themselves. They have to take care of the whole family, society, nation, and so they need to be learnt this subject. So Sri Yogendra ji started the institute with very clear-cut idea. First, that yoga is not a religion. Yoga is a science of living, and yoga has to be projected as a science. No religion should come, and that's why you will notice that if you come to the Yoga Institute, you will not find any statue of any god or anything, or puja and worship we don't do at the Yoga Institute, because yoga is for prani matra. Everyone should learn yoga. He may be following whatever religion he is following, but he should learn yoga. And so it was always the scientific way of yoga which was projected. He did lots of researches when he was in America, and then at the Yoga Institute, lots of researches, because we found that people don't come to the Yoga Institute for learning yoga. They would come because of some sickness, some problem. Heart patients, diabetics, asthmatics, and so many various diseases. So first thing we should do is to see that they are free from all the sickness and so on. And so we started the whole thing. Second, he was clear that the Yoga Institute should be a non-profit organization. Yoga should not become a business. It is education, and so we should educate humanity. Then he was clear that in the Yoga Institute we should always find out the need of human beings, what they really need. And we found that housewives, they were not at all into this whole subject. So he saw to it that he and his wife, they both brought yoga in such a way that the families started coming, housewives started coming, children started coming, and it was a great thing. So the Yoga Institute is on these basic pillars: non-profit, non-religious, scientific, and for every humanitarian. So this is our journey, and we started. Now also, according to the need of people, we teach yoga. Like we have taught yoga to truck drivers, we have taught yoga to people who are working in field, we have taught yoga, of course, to teachers of municipal schools and children and so on. But we have always seen right from the beginning till now what is the need, what is required, and accordingly we have brought yoga in their lives. So that's the Yoga Institute. As far as this question, Guru Parampara is concerned, at the Yoga Institute, Sri Yogendra Ji himself became a householder. He married Mother Sita Devi. He had 2 sons, and he lived the householder's life. He believed that worshipping Guru or touching feet of Guru and glorifying Guru, bringing pictures of Guru in your house and worshipping, he said that all this is absolutely wrong. It is not the Guru, it is the science which has to go into people's houses. And he believed that every human has a potential to reach to the highest level, because every human is potentially divine, and so there is no such place of Guru. Rather, in Yoga Sutra he mentioned very often that the first Guru is God and not any other human beings. Human beings will always have some or other flaws, and so see to it that person starts observing and developing himself, and that is the culture at the Yoga Institute. Still, some people want to touch the feet, he doesn't react, but it is not mandatory at all. Everybody is living according to their culture, their beliefs, their lifestyle.
Thank you, madam. When you have conducted the series of yoga programs on Doordarshan in the 80s, what was the motive behind it? What was its impact on public health and the practice of yoga, especially for the women?
When the president came to the Yoga Institute, Gyani Zail Singh, along with him came the Delhi Doordarshan team, and they requested me that why don't you do some series with us. I said that as far as yoga is concerned, some series are going on. People are doing asanas, they are learning asanas and pranayams and all that. So I am not required. If I come, I would be teaching yoga as an experiential science. I would be teaching people how to bring yoga into their day-to-day life. So I would be talking, I would be showing them certain examples, and this is how I would conduct. So they said that that would be fantastic, please you start, and so we started. Series went on, people were very enthusiastic in listening. It was DD network, so everywhere this was shown. Now here I took up subjects like yoga for householders, housewives, yoga for working women and men, yoga for factory workers, yoga for students. I have selected so many such themes which were so practical, and they were so good that every type of people were attracted to the series. So point was that you don't keep yoga just separately doing some asanas and then telling that you are doing yoga. Yoga should be part of your life. So I showed in Housewives series that here is a lady who is boiling the milk. Her focus is very much on that pot where now the milk is going to come up, cream is going to come up, and she is focusing, but she is side by side taking long breath. Her focus is very much there. And then she is stretching her hand to pick up something from up, but while breathing in, or something fell down, she is squatting down and picking up that. So automatically Utkatasana is done, Talasana is done, Pranayam is done. So this is how I was trying to project yoga as a practical science. And in all the other series, students also, with the example of nature, how the snake is, how the birds are, how tree is, how the mountain is, and showing all those examples, the teaching was done with students, and then how science looks at things and so on. So the series was very interesting, and it was taken very well at that time.
Yes, it's fantastic, madam. Myself is very, very fortunate to have listened to Dr. Jayadev ji and yourself in the Santa Cruz Yoga Institute many times. The uniqueness of teaching is that at the end of every session, both of you used to come and address the participants with your unique, insightful knowledge, which comes from your vast experience of yoga. Madam, how you designed it and how you thought of such a unique way of teaching, and what is its impact on minds of yoga practitioners?
Well, in the institute, slowly, not just sick people, but healthy people who want to learn yoga, who want to become yoga teachers, started coming. And so we had varieties of programs. Now, when all that group would be sitting in the hall, and both of us, me and Dr. Jayadev, would come to give some talk, it was very clear that Dr. Jayadev was a personality with few words. He would hardly talk. He would tell few sentences. And then I was working as a bhashya. Doctor was like a sutra and I was like a bhashya, where I would explain with various life examples, life stories, I would explain the topic further. So this whole thing was taken very nicely. Students really understood both of us very well and understood the subject, what we wanted to teach also very well. So all this knowledge comes from life only, no? When you start living life, when you start keeping your eyes open and see the world around, when people come with their problems and come and ask how to go about with the problem, and when we guide them, and when they apply yoga into life and come out of the problem, all these things are there, no, in life. So you learn from life, you learn from families, you learn from everything around, and so all that comes in our lectures.
Thank you, madam. What you have learned from Ma Sita Devi ji and Dr. Jayadev ji, and we have associated with them for many years, what you learned from them?
Well, your question is, what have I learned from Ma Sita Devi and Dr. Jayadev? But before that, Sri Yogendra ji, I have learned so much from Sri Yogendra ji. Sri Yogendra ji was very much with the topic of pranayam, basically breath, how to transfer breath, how to see that breath is involved along with body movements. And this we did at the Yoga Institute. We had proper systematic breathing rhythm along with the asanas we are doing. And so Sri Yogendra ji made it clear that if you are taking 2 seconds in inhaling, you have to take in 2 seconds a full breath and not just half breath. Take a full breath when you are doing talasana, hold your breath, bring it down. So inhalation, holding, exhalation, suspension, all this was very much part of our asana teaching. And Sri Yogendra ji made it clear. He saw that everything could be simplified for householders, because householders are such personalities who have stress, who have tension. They can't even sleep sometimes whole night. Child is there, a mother cannot sleep whole night, or somebody is sick in the house, things are very difficult. Such personality householder doing too much twisting and turning of body can always have muscle pull problem and can have a stress in their body. So Sri Yogendra ji simplified the whole thing. He made asanas into 2 variations, one static variation and one dynamic variation. So these variations, first you do dynamic, try and make your body more flexible and all that, and then come to static level. All this was taught. Sri Yogendra ji's approach to see that when he blesses somebody, when person is in trouble, he can definitely give little pran to that person to help him out, that emitting energy from his body. He had even demonstrated in America when he was there. And so he was telling me that this is how, when you are full of care, full of compassion, full of love, when you have a good, pure mind, then you can help humanity. Anybody coming close to you would always be benefited. So all such discussions I always had with founder. I used to sit with him and argue with him, discuss with him, and I learnt a lot from him. Then Mother Sita Devi, she was a personality who would take sickness as an insult. If one sneeze, she would say, come on, throw it out. So she would quickly get some water, have some ginger and black pepper, boil it, and then decoction, take it. If she has any of this problem, little gas, she would use hot water bag on her stomach, lie down on the stomach and see that her stomach is settled. She was a personality who would never tolerate any disease. If anybody comes and tells her I am sick, she says, you should be ashamed to be sick. She would answer like that. If somebody is very fat, she would say, why are you eating so much? Why can't you reduce your food? She would be talking in that term. And it was quite amusing to see that how mother was so much into the yoga way of living. She was never sick. Same founder. In our whole family, Yogendra family, sickness is never accepted. Any sickness, see to it that you throw it out within half a day. And so this was the whole approach in the house. That was mother's personality. Founder sometimes will shout at somebody, but next moment he would be talking very lovingly with that person. So it was such a nice to see that if you want to impose your ideas with some loud sound, nothing is wrong, but then that should not overpower you. If somebody has done a big mistake, he can do mistake and he should be forgiven. So you shout, definitely tell him, here was the mistake, but then immediately the whole negativity or force of negative emotion would be out in founder's personality. That was so beautiful to watch, and I have learnt a lot at that time from him. Dr. Jaydev was a very different personality. He was basically a recluse person, no desire, just embodiment of concept of duty. So he would be a person who would be doing his duty towards parents, duty towards family, and then duty towards the whole institute. And he was doing everything. Such a humble man. He would be taking a broom to clean. He would be watering the plants. He would be washing the toilets. If he finds that toilet is smelling a bit, he would do anything, and so silently that nobody would come to know. And when I was there with him, I could sense that he must be doing something, because then it was a very strong telepathy between both of us. He would do something and I would come to know. I would do something and he would come to know. And this is how together really did our duty well in life. I have learned this concept of duty from Dr. Jaydev and total vairagya in life. Not getting affected by anything in the world. No desire to earn money or becoming big or making big name in the world. Not at all. So he was that personality.
Thank you, madam. Since the inception of International Day of Yoga, yourself and the Yoga Institute Santa Cruz have contributed a lot, especially in developing the common yoga protocol. You are one of the 4 yoga masters present on the dais with Honorable Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi ji on 21st June 2015. What, according to you, is the uniqueness of this common yoga protocol, which has been practiced by more than 200 million people across the globe since its inception?
Well, when the Yoga Institute received Prime Minister's Award, I was very happy, very glad that now the Yoga Institute is known to the world. World knew. Those who were coming to the institute, and so many have come, They knew what Yoga Institute was, but world is a big thing, and when some government gives award, things are very, very different. So I was very glad that the householder yoga is given an importance. A yoga which is more a lifestyle management is given importance. A scientific yoga is given importance. And so I was very glad about it, and I'm happy about it. Responsibilities, you should take more and more in any case as the demands are, as requirement is. But we are talking about yoga for householders. So family is here now, and so many very sincere students are there along with us. So all these responsibilities are shared. Now I have my son, who is now very much responsible person, Rishi Yogendra. My daughter-in-law is there. My grandson is there. And many, many more are there around who have shared the responsibility, and the institute is running very smoothly now in the hands of this young generation. So when I see all this young generation working very hard, I realize that we don't call ourselves at 102 years old institute. We would call ourselves at 102 year young institute, because this will go on with this generation.
Thank you very much, madam. The Yoga Institute has developed unique concept of bhava and bhavanas applied in the practice of yoga. Madam, kindly elaborate the impact of these unique concepts on well-being.
As I have told you in the beginning, that we would see the need of the world, and accordingly we would make some changes of teaching. Science is the same. Now what we saw was that yoga was getting popular, and slowly so many people came in this field. But what was popular was teaching asanas and physical activity. Now we should be very much clear that nothing in our human personality is just physical. Just physical makes no sense. We are as a holistic. Whatever we do, we should see that our body, our mind, our emotions, our intellect, and our good well-being is there when we do any action in life. So when we are doing asana, it should not be done just as a physical fitness, that you go on pulling yourself, doing something, and your mind is very much into that physicalness. We made it very much clear that bring other aspect with body. And so here came the bhavas. What about your intellect? What about your emotions? What about your state of mind? That should get involved. Only focusing, concentration is not the thing. Emotions. And so Dr. Jayadev saw that this aspect was mentioned in Sankhya philosophy. Sankhya philosophy and Yoga Sutra, they are hand in gloves. And so they found in Sankhya philosophy it was mentioned that our chitta has 4 components, and these 4 components are dharma, jnana, vairagya and aishwarya. These 4 components. So Dr. Jayadev brought it into a practical approach, that when we are doing asanas, why can't we bring any of these bhavas, these feelings, feeling of dharma, that I have a concept of duty with me, responsibility with me, and I should be doing my dharma. So this dharma bhav when I am doing some asanas. So asanas like meditative poses, where slowly you are focusing on breath or something, comes in dharma bhav. Then comes jnana bhav, that whatever you are doing, learn from that. But from asana you learn that what is the effect of asana on your body. But in life also, whatever is happening around you, you should be in a learning state. So jnana bhav, we should keep that in mind. Third is vairagya bhav, that if you are so close to any situation, when that situation is shaky, you also would become shaky. Keep little distance. If you want to see anything, you should be seeing it perfectly only when it is away from you. If I have to see my finger, if it is so close to me, I can't see it fully. But if I keep it away, then I'll be able to see it fully. So that keeping away, seeing life objectively, not getting too much subjective is what we should learn in life. So certain asanas like surrendering, that would be working wonders because we surrender to the higher reality. Work is in our hand, but results are never in our hand. So this concept of do your job with best of your capacity, become better and better, but the results, leave it to higher reality. Surrender to higher reality, that can come with this Vairagya bhav, learning to be objective in life. And fourth bhav is Aishwarya bhav. Once you live this life, doing your dharma, gaining more and more knowledge about life, and bringing Vairagya in your life, then comes Aishwarya bhav. Full confidence, full willpower, full strength, full capacity. All this would come, and that is called as Aishwarya bhav. Aishwarya bhav will come when person would start taking charge of himself, becoming self-reliant. Like what I gave you an example of Mother Sita Devi, that you have cold, come on, do something to come out of that cold. So do some pranayam, do some asanas, and take charge of yourself and remove that out, because you are confident that you can handle that situation. This Aishwarya bhav should come in everybody. And so these concepts we brought, because let us not live life totally at external level, physical level, sensual level. We should live life in such a way that all these four aspects become very much into part and parcel of our personality. So in the institute, we started teaching asanas, but along with it, these bhavas. In any case, along with it, breathing rhythm and systematic way of coining all these three together to teach any aspect, any technology in yoga. So that's what we have done.
Thank you. Under this pandemic condition, what is your message to the yoga professionals and the common people?
Under this today's scenario, this pandemic condition, every yoga practitioner should know that yoga is the answer for all the problems. Bhavatapena taptanam yogo hi param aushadhi. Only yoga can save you from everything. And so don't doubt the capacity of yoga. Follow yoga properly. Yoga following means doing few asanas, but all these things, handling your emotions and mind, doing your dharma well, gaining more understanding about life well, and being little detached and doing your job well. All these things should happen. And so let's live this life, and you will notice that when you do your dharma, dharma takes care of you. Dharayati iti dharma. And your life would be beautiful. So carry on like this. Thank you. It was nice to be with you. I hope whatever our discussion was, it would help people. I would say take care, stay healthy, stay fit, learn yoga, follow yoga into your life, and have a beautiful, positive life. Namaskar.
Thank you very much, madam, for your valuable time, your insightful views, and motivating all the yoga practitioners and the yoga enthusiasts. On behalf of Ministry of Ayush, Government of India, on my own behalf, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Our association will continue, and we keep on promoting yoga for the welfare of the peace and harmony across the globe. धन्यवाद. जय हिंद, जय भारत. ओम शांति शांति शांति.